This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're going to take a look at the CODEOFBELL Annex Liner 2 Sacoche, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So we have two materials that we're working with here. As you can see from the front, we have an X pack, which offers great weather resistance, water resistance, and then on the back side we have Cordura. So these materials work pretty well in tandem, but I was a little bit confused when I first started testing this bag because it just seems like you have a ton of water resistance on the front side of this bag, especially with the PU coated zips, which we'll get into, and then the Cordura obviously does have good water resistance. It's just not as good as the X pack. I don't know, it was confusing to me, but I did take walks with this in the rain and all my gear stayed dry. That's just something to keep in mind if you're getting this for the weather resistance. So we do have YKK zips. They all have these PU coatings, so they are a little bit slower to open than if they didn't have that PU zip, but you're getting that extra protection from the rain, snow, whatever kind of elements. And then we also do have, as you can see on the front zipper there, a little garage, which is helpful for keeping water out. On the top here, we do have two zippers, which there is a little hole in between the two, which feels a little bit of an oversight because obviously you know that that's an issue down here, so you have that garage, but then up here we have the little hole, which obviously you can get the zippers pretty close together, but there's still always going to be a little bit of a hole. That wasn't a problem for me, that's just something I noticed. Really do like the pulls. They feel like a Hypalon-like material, very easy to grab onto even if they get wet. And then let me flip it over here. We have Woojin buckles. There's a lot of different hardware on this thing, but all of it works well. None of it has felt like it's going to break or anything like that, and it's all just held up. Sometimes when there's a lot of plastic hardware, it feels like unsecure, but that was definitely not the case here. So pretty happy with that overall. On the top here, we do have two little handles here. So this is just a regular handle. You can grab it like this, easy to do. And then you have a little tiny small one here, which you can like put that on a hook. So if you wanted to hang it on the back of your door or something like that, it's a little bit more secure than if you just put it on this big one, which is going to kind of move around a little bit. So overall, pretty easy to grab onto. And then obviously we have a pretty crazy harness system, which we're going to get into in a moment. But before we do that, we do have some attachment loops I should mention on the back side here. We have these ones here, and then on the other side as well. And there are a few more attachment loops, so this is an expandable bag. It goes from 4 liters to 8 liters, and you cannot access those unless you use the expansion. So I'll just kind of fold it out a little bit here so you can see that we do have these expansion loops on the back side right here. So you do have that expansion if you want to use it. We also have these compression straps as well. So these help with the expansion, but also if you just have the gear packed like this and you have it really packed out, you can use these compression straps to cinch that down if you need to, and you have the strap keepers there as well to keep things organized. So there's a lot going on around here, but once you get used to all of it, it's pretty easy to use. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to. So as I mentioned, there's a ton going on, and most of that's relating to how you carry this bag. So let's dive right in. As you can see, we do have a stabilizer strap right here. I'll just kind of start with that so I can kind of get it out of the way. And I do actually like it a lot, especially when I'm doing something more active. Like if I took this on bike rides and it really let the Sacoche stay in place where I wanted it to be. And I felt that was very handy because the worst thing when you're riding your bike or even just like walking fast or running, when your bag's moving around a bunch, and this really helped secure that. And obviously we have a strap keeper there as well. 3 ways to unattach it. You have the clip down here at the end, you have the buckle right here, and then you have the hook and loop fastener to remove it. So obviously you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's also ambidextrous. You can go on either side. So you can flip which way you're carrying it. It's just, if you want to do something with this when it comes to customization, you can probably do it. So when it comes to the strap here, we have this middle padded section. So this doesn't slide or anything like that. And we do have some additional attachment loops on here if you want to attach stuff or move where you have the stabilizer strap. But if you want to make adjustments to where this is sitting on your body, depending on how you're wearing it, you have to make that with the adjusters on either side of the sling, or the Sacoche, I should say. So that can get a little bit tedious, but once you have it where you like it, like this is currently how I wore it most of the time, but it did take me a little bit of time to get it where I want it. And one thing to note is we don't really have a back panel here, like there's no padding or anything like that, but this is a pocket, which we'll get into as well. So whatever you stow here kind of becomes your back panel. So I typically stowed flat items there just to make sure nothing was bulging into me, but overall it was pretty comfortable. I didn't find it was digging into me or anything like that. And just generally Cordura is a thick material, so it's gonna offer a little bit of padding. Not a ton, there's no dedicated padding, but it's pretty comfortable for a bag like this. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, make sure you throw a like on the video, drop a comment down below about what you think about this bag, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So this is how I finally got my most comfortable fit. I'm not going to say it was uncomfortable when I started because it wasn't, but this is just, it took me a little while to find that this was how I wanted to wear it, especially with these I should turn back around this way so you can see the stabilizer strap right here. Not too tight, but still kind of keeping it from moving around a ton. When I was cycling, I did tighten up the strap a little bit, and it's just not the easiest to, I mean, it's easy to adjust. It just takes a little while to get it how you want to, and then to obviously re-secure these strap keepers and stuff like that. So this is not a sling that I would, or Sacoche, I should say, not a Sacoche that I would recommend changing how you're going to be wearing it all the time. I would recommend finding the most comfortable way for you and then keeping it like that, or maybe operating between two different situations. Like obviously I found a comfortable way to wear it while I was cycling as well, and so I would just switch between those two, but I'm not going to be switching it up a ton because there is a lot going on, and it just takes a little bit longer than a standard strap or standard sling with one strap to adjust. Sorry if you can hear that truck beeping right now, but we do get packages here all the time, so maybe they're bringing us some new gear. But when it comes to secondary compartments, it's kind of hard to decide which of these is the main compartment, but I'll just go with what I have been calling them. So we obviously have that pocket I was mentioned earlier, just snaps closed with a magnet, has a little loop to open it up with. This is a good place to stow quick use items, like if you're waiting in line for something and you don't want to hold up the line once you get to the front, you can put your wallet in there, passport when you're going through customs and stuff like that, or just keep like a notebook in there, or just something you want quick access to. But typically flat gear goes best here because, as I mentioned, it kind of becomes the back panel can poke into you if you put something large there. Like if you have like a bouncy ball or something, it's not going to feel the most comfortable. And the nice thing about this pocket is if you don't want to stow anything in there, you don't have to, but it's nice to have the option if you want to. So as I mentioned earlier, this does expand from 4 liters to 8 liters, and most of your expansion is coming from this front pocket. So I'm going to show you it without any expansion first. So as you can see, it's pretty tight inside of here right now, but you can obviously pop these clips off or loosen them. So typically when I was using it, I would just pop it open because I wasn't using it for an extended period of time. But you obviously can just loosen these straps as well. So this pops open like this, and as I mentioned earlier, you do have those attachment loops under here, which are handy. And also there's lots of modularity between this and other CODEOFBELL gear. So now when you were to stow items inside of here, like I have my big over-ear headphones right here, I can fit these inside of here, which would not have probably even come close to fitting before. I can also take my GoPro, which I have stashed off to the side, and fit this inside of here as well. So it went from, you know, being a pretty minimalistic sling to just kind of being pretty massive. So you can kind of see just the different size comparisons there. And then obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you can use these compression straps and just loosen them up and reattach them on these sides. And then you can also use them to compress once they're in action too, to just kind of get some of that extra material out of the way. I do think when you are using this, I'm not getting too much compression out of that one, but I do think it does look a little bit goofy when you have it like this. But when you're traveling, I really think this is a great piece of gear because, again, you're going from a pretty manageable small sacoche or sling bag, whatever you want to call it, and then it transitions into something you could put a packable rain jacket in. You could put your water bottle in this front pocket, or if you like bringing over-ear big headphones on you so you don't get overstimulated, you can do that too. So you really can fit a ton of gear inside of here. Similar to the first iteration of this bag, we do have a zipper on the bottom here as well, which I never really understood the appeal of. I guess, I don't know. I watched the video from the first one that we put out, which was probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point, and when I think it was Nathan Cloverdale did the interview, when he opened it, he kind of laughed a little bit, and I still don't really exactly understand what this is for. So if you have a use for this, please tell me so I can just better understand it. But I just never really found the need to get in from this way. I guess right now it would be easier for me to get the headphones from there. But I just prefer going from top down so I don't drop anything. But I'm going to pull this stuff out of here real quick so I can actually go over a little bit of the organization that's going on inside of here. We have a little tab pocket right here, which works well for like small items. It is just a little bit weird to me, the little like tongue pocket, but AirPods go well in there. If you have like a really small minimalist wallet, you might be able to fit that inside of there, or your keys or something like that. But your keys are better off suited on the big magnetic key clip here. Very easy to pop on and off. It is a little bit big, but I mean, you go up to 8 liters here, so you have quite a bit of space to work with. And then the rest of the space is just kind of open area here, especially when you have it folded out like that. So obviously you can compress it back down, and then it looks a lot more manageable again. And then you can kind of rotate between the two as you see fit. There really isn't a good middle ground between the two. It just kind of looks a little bit bulky. So I prefer to go with the very small, like just regular, or all the way puffed out. But obviously with these compression straps, there's a lot of wiggle room in between, so you can kind of use that to your advantage. So moving into the main compartment, obviously I mentioned earlier we go from 4 to 8 liters, and a lot of that is from this front compartment, but there is an expansion system on the main compartment as well. So we will get into that as soon as I get some of the gear out of here. So right now I just have a book stowed inside of here, pretty big book. So I was able to, most slings I would not be able to bring a book this big. So it's nice to be able to do that if you are reading a bigger book or if you have a bigger tablet or something like that. On this side here, we have a little hook and loop fastener. So that's a nice security for your iPad. I think it fits up to an 11-inch iPad. And then I also can fit a Nintendo Switch in there. I was also able to fit my cased Nintendo Switch inside of this bag as well. So you can bring this along if you want to. And then on the other side, we have a little bit more organization. I've got my wallet stowed in one of the pockets, and then I have my phone stowed in the other pocket. So you could have fit a little bit larger items there. There is padding in this as well, and on the tablet slider as well. Small pocket in the middle for, you know, pen, pencil, or like a stylus or something like that. And as you can see down here, we do have those 2 buttons I referenced earlier, so you just pop those open. Really easy expansion system, and you do get, we kind of stick my hands in there to show you, get a little bit more space there just to fit larger items. Like now, get tangled up by the strap there. I could fit these in here a lot easier. So fit both of those inside of there without too much of a problem, but obviously you are going to be eating into the space that you have in the secondary compartment when you have more gear inside the main compartment. But obviously it expands outwards, so you are losing a little bit of space on the back side here, but you're obviously gaining that space on the front side. So you really can fit like a shocking amount of gear inside of this bag, especially when, you know, you take these out of here and you just see it flat like this. Like, it's pretty crazy to think of the amount of gear you can stow inside of here when you expand it, and just how much bigger this bag gets when it's fully expanded. And for travel, I think that works really well, especially if you like the style of a bag like this, because you can fit this. I mean, obviously you have a lot of strap going on, but you can remove these straps here. So you can pop these off. There's a lot of things to undo, but I will take these off here just so I can show you what I'm talking about. So you can pop this strap off and put it inside the bag or put it somewhere else in your bag. And then this can, you know, kind of fold pretty easily. It's like, this is not tiny, but this is an 8-liter bag that's comfy to wear and has a lot of versatility. Like, you can do active things with this. You could take this on a hike. It wouldn't be perfect, but you could do that. And it's a comfortable carry. So it's a very, you know, great on the airplane, great once you land. It's just a really versatile piece of travel equipment if you are into wearing a Sacoche like this, and also can get around the kind of goofy look that it has when you fully expand it. So overall, very happy with this thing. I understand that it's not for everyone. I don't even know that it's for me, but I really have to appreciate all of the versatility that it offers and just how durable the materials are, and also how weather resistant it is. So there you have it, the CODEOFBELL Annex Liner 2 Sacoche. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.